W thinks that they don't have to pay us more in order for us to be here. And I think I didn't express that when I first talked about prioritization, you know. Um,
This could lead to a wave of talent moving overseas as they seek better opportunities.
It's going to be nice, though, I think, getting out of the spotlight and just getting to live my life and do things that I want to do and, you know, not have to sit and I love talking to all of you, but it's going to be nice to not have to sit in front of a microphone, you know, multiple times a week. I really appreciate all of you, but it will be nice to kind of get away and relax for a little bit. And I appreciate everything you all do as well, so I thank you.
What does this mean for the WNBA?
With the WNBA season ending for many teams, there are already so many players heading overseas to play during the off-season. But with all of the drama currently surrounding the WNBA, on top of the low-paying salaries, some of these players are questioning if they'll even return.
It's not just about losing one player. It could signal a larger trend of talent leaving the league.
our commissioner talked about us being able to, you know, make 700,000. That's not true at all. There's not one player who makes that.
Clark's choice is prompting everyone to examine the situation closely. Are players really being compensated fairly?
And we were promised, you know, team marketing agreements and league marketing agreements, but they've fallen quite short. So it's still not enough for us international players to want to stay here. And that's a choice of the players. If I make a choice to make more money and whatever, and then
This raises important questions about the league's future and how it values its athletes.
teams are mad that I don't come back, but that's how it is. So yes, it just the WNBA, you know, if you want us to be here, you have to pay us more. It's business, it's how it works, and that's all that.
In a recent WNBA playoff game, Caitlin Clark experienced an eye poke from Dejonai Carrington, which sparked a lot of discussion. This reminds me of an event that changed my life. In 2016, I was driving to a reunion with friends when a distracted driver ran a red light and crashed into me. My car was total, and I ended up needing multiple knee surgeries. Insurance companies often try to pay you less than what you deserve after an accident, which is why I'm excited to introduce our sponsor, Morgan & Morgan. They're the largest personal injury law firm in the country and can fight for the best possible result for your case if you become their client. Whether it's a minor accident or something more serious, they make sure the insurance company doesn't shortchange you. The best part? You don't pay them up front. If they don't win, you don't pay. If you ever find yourself in an accident, remember your options. You can start your claim now by clicking the link in description below. Thanks to Morgan & Morgan for sponsoring this video. Can you believe what's going on in women's basketball right now? Caitlin Clark's exit is shaking up the WNBA like never before.
Here's all you need to know about Caitlin Clark. When we would go to away games, they always sold out. Unbelievable. So Atlanta would normally have 3,000, 4,000 people. Now they have 17,000 people, and they sold 1,000 standing room only tickets.
We've seen the incredible effects she had on viewership, ticket sales, and merchandise.
So when we walked into the arena, people were on that third balcony looking down at the tops of our players' heads to watch.
Now, her departure is revealing some serious problems within the league.
It's really hard to take in. After a few away games and all of the sellouts, Caitlin asked the WNBA if they would pay spot bonuses to the away team players.
This isn't just about one player moving on. It's about the future of women's basketball.
She said,
Wow.
we're making all this new revenue, and I would like the away team to benefit from that. Could they get a spot bonus? So that's the heart of Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark's choice could be the catalyst for meaningful change.
I want to focus on the ladies of the WNBA for a second, and a long overdue milestone for that league. The WNBA announced yesterday they plan to commit $50 million over the next 2 seasons so players can fly on chartered planes. The league faced backlash on social media when Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark and the team was seen walking through a Dallas airport headed to a commercial flight. The move addresses years of safety concerns for the league and their players.
Improved pay, fairer treatment, and a new chapter for the sport.
You just have bad days, and there's days where you don't want to talk to anyone, but somebody comes up to you and this is their 10-second interaction with you, so you better smile and be kind. But at the same time, it's just like you just want to be normal sometimes.
This is not the same as what it was.
The WNBA now has the opportunity to respond.
I'm going to say this on behalf of Caitlin Clark. I need any females out there who are fans of the WNBA, who are fans of WNBA players, who are critical of Caitlin Clark in any way, to stand down. Chill out. You need to hug that girl when you see her. You need to embrace her. You need to compete like hell to go up against her, take her down on the basketball court. That's fine, which I believe the Diana Taurasi's and the Asia Wilsons and others of the world will gladly do.
What they decide to do next could reshape women's basketball for years to come.
But what you don't need to do is look at this girl with a speck of resentment when it comes to what she's doing for the WNBA.
The WNBA is in a frenzy after Caitlin Clark announced she's leaving the US for Europe, and now everyone seems to be panicking as if it's the end of the world.
And it's not to say we're not going to continue to combat these things. That'll always exist, I think, in the fabric of our league, but we still aren't talking about basketball.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, it might be too late. Neither the fans nor Caitlin herself seem to care anymore.
Hardest part about being Caitlin Clark, I would say, having to feel like you're always like on.
We came from Wisconsin.
That is fun. Ready?
Oh my gosh.
Caitlin Clark put in tremendous effort for this team, created a huge fan following, boosted marketing sales like never before, and brought more excitement to the league than it has ever experienced.
Because over 800,000 people watch that, which means there's an audience out there that wants to see Angel Reese too. What the hell is up with the WNBA? How do you let that happen? How do you let it so Caitlin Clark could be seen and Angel Reese nor anybody else could be seen? What the hell is that about? Different subject for another day.
Fans often comment on videos saying they only watched because of her. That's why the WNBA executives are finally realizing the harsh truth. Their empire is crumbling.
Now she's a pro. So she just got deals. Plus she's getting a salary. She is box office, y'all. And it's not about the fact that y'all are not. That's not the subject for today. The subject for today is how Caitlin Clark got stuff going on for herself.
The WNBA is now in full-blown panic mode because Caitlin Clark was their biggest draw and pretty much the sole reason fans tuned in.
But in her very first press conference, she brought up the fact that they had to fly a commercial, and the next damn day, $50 million was committed to the players. Who do you think has something to do with that? It's Caitlin Clark. She could have been selfish. She was selfless. She could have been all about herself. She was about everybody.
Calling her the league's golden goose doesn't even begin to cover it. She was essentially their entire source of revenue.
The WNBA was preceded by the NCAA. Remember that girl that took a video years ago where the men had this big-ass weight room, or was it USA? I don't know if it was the NCAA or USA Basketball, but the men had this big weight room area facility designated for them, and the women just had one little room with one piece of dumbbells. What the hell was that? And it was videotaped. It was egregious. It was embarrassing.
When Clark took the court for her regular season finale against the Washington Mystics, it wasn't just another game, it was the highlight of the season. That night, more than 2,711 fans filled the stadium, setting a new attendance record for a single WNBA game.
Caitlin Clark just yesterday was named the Rookie of the Year of the Women's National Basketball Association, and that is no surprise whatsoever, of course. We all saw that coming, but what we didn't necessarily see coming is that she was not a unanimous selection.
No one, especially not a rookie, had ever attracted crowds like this before.
67 votes cast for Rookie of the Year in the WNBA, and Caitlin Clark received 66 of those votes, leaving one outlier voter who voted for Angel Reese, which is absolutely ridiculous.
In fact, she was bringing in over 15,000 fans per game during her first season. Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA was nothing short of revolutionary. Fans who had never even heard of the league were suddenly tuning in, and ticket sales skyrocketed. Every sports show had to cover her, and sponsors were eager to get on board. Clark was like a one-woman economic boom. Broadcasters were vying for primetime slots to air her games, while even the league's oldest merchandise was flying off off the shelves. She truly was the golden goose. Alyssa Thomas stirred up controversy by suggesting that Caitlin Clark's popularity stems from racial biases, claiming that the attention she receives is largely due to her being a white player in a league dominated by black athletes. Thomas argued that Clark should be on a better team, which sparked a significant uproar. She described the hype around Clark as simply a result of her being a white face in a sport that's always been built on black excellence. Things took a dark turn just a game later during the first round of the playoffs against the Connecticut Sun. Caitlin Clark was on fire, racking up 26 points by the third quarter when D.I. Carrington decided to take matters into her own hands. Literally, she didn't go for the ball. Instead, she aimed for Clark's face, jabbing her finger right into her eye. This wasn't a simple poke, it was a brutal jab that left Clark temporarily blinded in one eye. The referees might as well have been statues. No foul was called, no whistle blew, nothing at all. Clark staggered off the court, rubbing her eye and trying to shake it off. But did she sit out? Absolutely not. She came right back because that's just who she is. She keeps fighting, even when it feels like the league is turning a blind eye. Everyone saw it, fans, commentators, you name it, except the referees who treated it like just another play. But D.I. Carrington wasn't finished. Later in the fourth quarter, she practically body slammed Clark to the floor. It looked more like a linebacker tackle than a basketball move. And once again, no foul, no call, just Clark getting back up with frustration written all over her face. It felt like Carrington had been given a free pass for the entire game. Despite Caitlin Clark outscoring and outplaying nearly every veteran in the league, Cheryl Swoops made it all about race and image, twisting Clark's success into a stereotype unrelated to her performance. These comments weren't just petty jabs. They aimed to undermine everything Clark had achieved and suggest she didn't deserve her place in the league. The criticisms were personal, intended to strip away the respect and legitimacy she had earned, making it seem like her rise was solely due to favoritism or bias. For the Fever, the outlook is even more grim. They're facing the possibility of fading into irrelevance once again. Without Clark, those sellout crowds will feel more like high school scrimmages. The soaring prices on the secondary market are likely to plummet, and sponsors who were finally showing interest might already be reconsidering their involvement. Local businesses that benefited from the game day crowds will also take a hit.
Many black women inside the WNBA are resentful that this white woman came in and is getting all this attention.
Rookies have put on quite a season, and it's not just Caitlin and Angel. Rickea Jackson and other rookies are killing it this year.
They've got a star in Clark, and if they play their cards right, they might finally have a chance to be relevant again.
I would say the biggest thing is just you can't take a second off.
If the Fever want to avoid being a one-woman show, they need to start thinking about the long term and consider bringing in some solid players who can really contribute.
No matter who you're guarding, no matter if you're on offense or defense, like you breathe for 1 second and you're not looking at your man and she's on the other side of the court. So
the front office must be feeling the heat right now, and who can blame them? Every decision they make will be scrutinized and